Hey guys, let's talk about this primary arm advanced micro dot. Picked this thing up about $165. It's a pretty neat little small, kind of micro dot, and I really enjoy it, so I wanted to do a tabletop on it. And tell you what guys, before you even watch my review, go out, check out some of the videos on this. There are some guys out there like the AK Operators Union that went and just froze this thing, hit it with a hammer, people dropping it in the mud, in the water. There's some pretty good torture tests on this out there. Before you even listen to me ramble on, check those out and see how tough this thing is before you even listen to all the nonsense I gotta say. So here we go. Let's talk numbers. What we got is a little tiny micro dot. It's about 4 ounces. Super lightweight. It's got 12 modes of brightness. The high end being very visible in bright daylight, low end being night vision capable. And that you can use night vision equipment, not that I could afford it, but hey, you might. Battery life, 50,000 hours. You're talking 6 years. 6 years of constant use that you can actually run this. So you literally can throw this in your safe and not turn it off, come back 5 years later, and this thing will still be on. Neat. Push button controls, very easy to get to, very simple to use. You literally hit any button and it turns it on. You push both buttons together, turns it off. Very simple, can't get it wrong. I know, like, for comparison's sake, like the Vortex Strike Fire can be a little difficult. There's a little button off to the side, you gotta hit to turn it on, then there's the up and downs, and they're kind of small. These are rather large, they're easy to find. Even just feeling around, you can feel them. Very simple and easy to operate, which I do like. It's low profile. One of the things I don't like about red dot optics is they're often set up to accommodate that big front sight post on an AR-15. You know what? Not everybody is using their red dots for an AR-15. So I like having these little micro dots that sit nice and low to the Picatinny. So turrets, very nice. They're adjustable. They have covers on them, but they're adjustable either with a flathead screwdriver or like a nickel, nickel, penny, anything like that. You can adjust them. The battery compartment is the same way. You can open that up with a coin or screwdriver, or even do it by hand, depending on how tight you crank that sucker down. Comes with a little tiny bikini cover. Nothing fantastic, but does fit pretty snug. Doesn't wiggle around in an emergency situation. It would be very easy just to rip it right off and not worry about it. So, alright, there's the main details. Testing. I brought this out, put it on my Saiga on that kind of side mount rail, which is a little difficult to get that kind of sighted in, guys. It was it's pretty high off the axis, so it was kind of a little bit of a pain to get that sighted in right. Plus that side mount's just, they're good, but they're not great. So took a little work to get it sighted in, but it worked fantastic on it and held up to the AK platform, the 7.62, no problem at all. Put this on one of my flat top AR uppers. Same thing, worked fantastic. Sighted in like a breeze. No problems at all, just fantastic. Accurate, just like any other decent quality red dot you're going to buy. It's accurate. It's a nice, sharp, crisp dot. It's not going to show great on camera here. I'll show you in a minute. But, they never show up as good as in real life. The optics are pretty good for the money. I think Primary Arms, even though they do have these things made in China, they really do take a lot of care and consideration to make sure that they get good quality. And I think that shows in the optics. The optics are really good quality. They're not fantastic, they're not like, you can't compare these things to a high-end scope or a really high-end red dot and expect them to be the same. But for that $150, this has probably got very similar, if not better, glass than the Vortex Strike Fire. I think the dot's definitely a lot crisper than the Vortex. I think the controls are better. I think this has a lot of advantages over the Vortex. I know I've never used the Spark, the little tiny one, to compare, but when it comes to quality, I think this is it's got a leg up on the Strike Fire, which that's the only other red dot I own, so sorry I can't do more of a comparison. The base is removable, and you put different bases on there. It is compatible with the aim point stuff, I do know that. All right, so I found this thing, you know, I only got a couple hundred through it. I lent it to my friend, he used it. My friend just built an AR and he literally didn't have any optics. So I'm like, you know what, I just got this. Go take it for a whirl, you know, and he went and put a couple hundred rounds through it himself. And he loved it as much as I did. Definitely a nice quality for the money. I've never used the Bushnell TR25 there. It's kind of very similar to it, but I wish I did so I could compare it. But it is kind of that similar size, but of course more expensive. Primary Arms, well-known company for taking good care of their customers. You always see them on the forums. They even leave comments on videos. Who knows? You might even see them leave a comment on this. They are very defensive of their product. They always make problems right when people have complaints. They're very well known for that. They stand by their products, you know, and they really do take a lot of care to make sure that they're getting the best quality that they can out of these things. So with all that said, let's move on to my complaints. Got a couple. First, kind of trivial, is that when I got this, it was not mechanically zeroed. It was actually on the high end of its adjustment. It is adjustable, according to the manual, for 40 MOA plus and minus, which is quite a bit of adjustment. Now, I got this, and of course I slapped it onto that AK I mentioned, and I needed to adjust it. Well, you know, I only got about 10 clicks in, and it bottomed out, and I was kind of like, what the hell, you know? So I ended up going and ended up basically remounting it on the AK, but I kind of mechanically zeroed it. I kind of went to the end, counted, you know, that there was like 80 clicks. I think it was like 81 or 82. It wasn't exactly 80, but I counted the clicks, found the middle. That was kind of mechanically zero between the two. Yes, it took a little time, but after I did that, it was a much easier setting in process. I'll tell you that. That was kind of a dumb, little bit of a boner on my part. But, you know, you sometimes when you get these things, you kind of expect they're going to be close to a mechanical zero, not at that upper end. So it is something to pay attention to. Maybe somebody in the factory was QC, you know, quality testing this one, or maybe that's just how they come. I'm not sure, but that was the only thing. Just kind of a heads up to pay attention to. My only other major complaint is that the base and the attachment to Picatinny are done with a Torx bit. I do not like that the slightest bit. I don't like it with green eggs and ham, on a boat, with a goat, you name it. Number one, my range bag is full of shit. It is literally full of shit. And now the fact that I have to add Torx bits to that drives me bonkers. So, I don't have any other gear that uses Torx bits. Everything is Allen head. So now I have this one little piece of gear that uses Torx, and it's driving me nuts. So of course I'm going to attempt to swap out that base as soon as humanly possible, because I really don't want to carry these around. And then, you know, when I lend this to my friend to use, he's got to go, and he's got to bring this stupid thing around with him to put it onto his rifle to take it off, and all that. So real pain, and something like that, it's so easy to get lost in the bottom of your range bag, to get misplaced and lost. And you know, if you're a guy like me, I change out optics a lot. I lend them out a lot to people. It's really inconvenient. So I really wish that base did not use the Torx bit and just use regular hex bits. And of course, the bottom side uses a smaller bit. So not only do you need one of those, but you need two of those if you're going to change out the bases. If you lose them, it can be a real pain. Now, I know as a gun guy, you should have a set of Torx bits around, but like I said, I don't have any other gear that uses Torx. This is literally the only thing. So now I have to either invest in like a set of Torx bits for my range bag, or keep those two little keys, you know, around at all times. And then, you know, what if I don't bring my range bag? What if I'm going hunting? What if I'm going, you know, doing something like that, and I forget them? Something happens to my optic. Ugh, you know, I could go on all day about that. It just drives me bonkers. I really wish it was not the case. Those are my major complaints. It's that. Really nothing major at all. You know, I think for the price you're getting a really good optic, really sturdy, you know, well built, even though it's made in China, there's a lot of care put into this to make sure you have a good product. It's supposed to be waterproof, shockproof, all that, and the torture test video really do show that this thing is a tough cookie. Now, of course, my camera's not going to show it the best, but that is on one of the brighter settings. I'm going to lower that down a little. See if we can zoom out a little. Get that. I'm telling you guys, I know this looks like a big fuzzy dot, but in real life, the dot is actually super sharp. It's fantastic, like sharp little dot. There's very little glare, and the quality of the optics is actually pretty decent. Very little light loss. You can see there's like a little bit of how it is a little dimmer there, you know, but I think that's just more the coating of the optics. But that red dot is real life is very crisp. It's also has a lack of parallax past 33 yards. Another thing I forgot to mention. A lot of cheap red dots have parallax issues. This one does not, especially when you get out past 33 yards, which will help with your accuracy. What am I forgetting? I know we went over a lot of ground in a hurry here. Not feeling the best. My brain is not working up to par. So overall, you know, what a nice little product for the money. I would definitely, this is my second Primary Arms product, and I will continue to buy them because I've had just great experiences so far. And you know, I think you really got to get one of these in your hands and hold it and put it on your rifle to see the kind of quality that you're getting. For the money, I think in that price range, that $150 price range, this is very competitive, and I think the personal touch that Primary Arms gives their customer service really does make it worth the while. So there you go, guys. Primary Arms micro dot, cool little dot. I think well worth the money.